Hello everyone, welcome again to the chapter 1 Information Practices Computer System or Basic Computer Organization Part 3. In this session, we will learn system bus, software, different types of software, then open source and proprietary software. So let's begin with system bus. See this picture. This picture consists of several number of circuits, and to create a circuit, buses are used. So system bus is an electronic pathway consists of connecting cables. It helps in connecting various major components of computer system. There are three types of buses in a computer. Number one is data bus. This data bus carries the data between the processor and other components. Second is the control bus. Control bus carries the memory address from the processor to the other components such as primary storage and the input-output devices. The third type of bus is address bus. This address bus carries signal, that is the control signals, from the processor to the other components. You can see this diagram. All three buses are there and there is arrows with a black color. So you can see control bus is a bidirectional, address bus is a unidirectional, whereas data bus is a bidirectional. Now we will see software. Till now, we have studied about the physical components or the hardware of computer system. But the hardware is of no use on its own. Hardware needs to be operated by a set of instructions, and these set of instructions are referred to as software. As I told you, the hardware describes the physical aspect of a computer, and hardware can be thought of as an invariable part of the computer, whereas software is a set of instructions, data or programs used to operate computers and execute a specific task. A software is a generic term used to refer to the application, script or a program that run on the device. A software can be thought of as variable part of a computer. So whatever the application we are using on the mobile phone or we are using on the computer to perform our tasks are all softwares. So some example of the software includes the operating systems like Ubuntu or Windows 7, 10, word processing tools like LibreOffice Writer or Microsoft Word, video player like VLC players, photo editors like Paint and LibreOffice Draw, etc. The data or image is stored on the hard disk or the pen drive is referred to as a soft copy. Once printed, the document or an image is called the hard copy. So the question arises, what is the need of software? The sole purpose of the software is to make computer hardware useful and operational. A software knows how to make the different hardware components of a computer work and communicate with each other as well as with the end user. We cannot talk to or interact the hardware of a computer directly. Hence, a software acts as an interface between human users and the hardware. Now let's see the difference between a hardware and a software. So hardware are the physical elements of the computer or the electronic system, whereas software is a collection of instructions that tells the computer how to perform the tasks. Hardware has four main categories, that is the input devices, output devices, secondary storage and the internal components, whereas the software mainly divided into the system software and the application software that we'll see further. Now, as we have already learned that the hardware is a tangible part, that is we can touch and feel it, whereas software is an intangible, that is we cannot touch software. Hardware are developed using the electronic and other materials, whereas software is developed by writing instructions using the programming languages like C, C++, Java, etc. Hardware, when damaged, it can be replaced with the new components, but software, when damaged, it can be reinstalled using the backup copy. Hardware starts functioning once the software is loaded into the computer. Software should be installed into the computer to function. If the software is not installed in the computer, we cannot use that software. Now, example of the hardwares are like keyboard, mouse, monitor, printer, hard disk, CPU, RAM, ROM, etc. Similarly, the examples of the softwares are Microsoft Word, Excel, MS SQL, MySQL, Photoshop, etc. Now we'll move to the next, that is different types of software. Depending on the mode of interaction with the hardware and the functions to be performed, a software can be broadly classified into two categories. Number one is system software and number two is application software. System software is again categorized into four types. The first is operating system, second is language processor, third is device driver, and fourth is utilities. Similarly, this application software is further categorized into three types, that is general purpose application software, special purpose application software, and number three, customized software. Now moving to the next, we will start with system software. The software that provides the basic functionality to operate a computer by interacting directly with its constituent hardware is termed as system software. System software is a type of computer program designed to run computers, hardware and application programs. See this picture, there are the number of users, user 1, user 2 up to user n. To interact with the hardware, they have to interact with the software. And under this software, there is a system software as well as the application software. So we'll see one by one. So system software coordinates the activities and the functions of the hardware and the software. In addition, it controls the operation of the computer hardware and provides an environment or platform for all other types of the software to work in. The best known example of the system software is the operating system that we all are using either in laptops, PCs, etc. that manage all other programs in a computer. Now, what is the operating system? As the name implies, operating system is a system software that operates the computer. An operating system is the most basic software without which the other software cannot work. So we can say it is the most important program that runs on a computer. So every general purpose computer must have an operating system to run other programs and applications. So computer operating system performs the basic tasks such as recognizing input from the keyboard, sending out to the display screen, keeping track of the files and directories on the storage devices, and controlling peripherals devices such as the printers. Commonly used operating systems are Windows, Linux, BlackBerry, Android, Debian, then OS X, iOS, BSD, then FreeRTOS. These all are the examples of operating system used for different purpose. So the widely used operating system for the PC is Windows and for the mobile phone is Android and iOS. There are different classification of operating systems. Number one is multi-user. Multi-user allows two or more users to run programs at the same time. Some operating systems permit hundreds or even thousands of the concurrent users. Second is the multiprocessing. Multiprocessing operating system supports running a program on more than one CPU. Third is multitasking. Multitasking OS, I will say OS for the operating system. Multitasking OS allows more than one program to run concurrently. Next is the multi-threading program, multi-threading OS. So multi-threading operating system allows the different part of a single program to run concurrently. Next is the real-time operating system. Real-time operating system responds to input instantly. The general purpose operating systems such as DOS and Unix are not real-time. So operating system used on the servers are mostly real-time. Some of the important functions of the operating systems are memory management, device management, then processor management, security, error detection, then coordination between the software and a user, then job accounting, file management. Memory management. So it manages all the memories, internal memory as well as the external memory, and it gives a message how much, and it shows how much memory is used, how much memory is left, and what is the total size of the memory. So these all information is provided by operating system. Second is the device management. It controls all the connected peripherals as well as the internal components of the computer system. If any device is not running properly, it shows a message. Then processor management. It manages two or more processors concurrently on a computer system. Then next is security. So operating system provides the internal security as well as the external securities like firewall and Windows Defender. So these all are the security measures. Along with that, it also provides authentication and authorization through which we can control the unauthorized access of the computer. Next, the error detection. Error detection means if any error occurs on the computer, it shows the appropriate message to the user so that the user can easily understand what type of error has been occurred. So error detection and showing the proper message to the user, this all is performed by the operating system. Next is the coordination between the software and the user. This is one of the important role our operating system performs. That is, it provides an interface between the user and the hardware. Next is the job accounting. Job accounting means here accounting is related to the calculation. We can take an example. Whenever we copy a file from one location to another location, it automatically calculates the estimated time and shows the total size of the file as well as how much time has been left or how much time required to copy a file from one location to another location. This calculation is a part of accounting itself. Similarly, in the case of the memory also, after calculating, it shows how much memory is available and how much memory is occupied by different devices or different applications. So this is a part of job accounting. So job accounting is also performed by the operating system. Next is the file management. File management is an important role of the operating system through which it organizes all the files in the computer system in a form of drive, folders and files. That is, in a hierarchical structure, it stores the files so that it can be easily searched and easily accessed by the users. Now the next we will see language processor. That is the second type of system software. Language processor means a language translator. So language processor is a software program designed or used to perform a task such as processing program code to the machine code. Language processors are also called language translators. That means it is used to translate one language into another language. So in a computer understands the binary language, that is known as the low level language. So it is very difficult to understand low level language. We are using high level language like English, but computer cannot understand language. So we need a language processor that converts our high level language into machine level language. So there are three types of translators or language processor, that is assembler, compiler and interpreter. Using this diagram we can understand the working of compiler, interpreter as well as the assembler. So first see the compiler. You can see here compiler converts the high level language either to assembly level language or machine level language, and this machine level language will be executed over the computer hardware. Similarly, an interpreter convert the high level language into machine level language by converting it into bytecode first. Now third is the assembler. Assembler is also a language translator that converts assembly level language into machine level language. So this way all these three translators works in a computer. Now next we see device driver. This is a important part of, as the name signifies, the purpose of device driver is to ensure the proper functioning of a particular device. So device driver is a computer program that controls a particular device that is connected to our computer. Our typical devices are keyboards, printers, scanners, digital cameras and external storage devices, and each of these need a driver in order to work properly. You can see here, if we have to use a hardware, we need a application, and this application will be installed on operating system, and operating system needs a set of program, that is the device driver, to make this hardware functional. Device driver act as a translator between the operating system of the computer and the device connected to it. We can understand with this picture. So here is a user, and this user wants to use printer. He will open an application and gives the command through this application to the operating system. Operating system will search an appropriate driver of the device and sends the information to that device. Similarly, we can see the second example. For example, we have a Wi-Fi hardware, and to use this Wi-Fi to connect internet, so you can see here, so we are using the application that is a Google Chrome, and this Google Chrome is installed on the Windows operating system. This Windows operating system needs a driver to run Wi-Fi so that it can access the internet. So these are the drivers that are installed, and so that this Wi-Fi hardware can be used over this operating system and net can be used. Now we'll see the utility software, that is the fourth category of the operating system. Software maintenance and configuration of the computer system is called the system utility. So utility software is a system software that is designed to help analyze, configure, optimize and maintain a computer and enhance the computer's performance. You can see some list of utility softwares are there. It is a program that performs a specific task, which is usually related to managing the system resources. Utility software usually focus on how the computer infrastructure, that includes computer hardware, application software, operating system and the data storage programs operates. Let's see some of the functions performed by these utilities are data compression, disk defragmentation, data recovery, management of the computer resources and files, system diagnosis, virus detection and many more. So some examples of utility softwares are disk defragmenter for defragmentation, similarly system profilers to create a system profiles, network managers, then application launchers, antivirus softwares. All the antivirus softwares comes under utility only. Then backup software, disk repair, disk cleaner, disk space analyzer, file manager, file compression, data security and many more are there. Next we'll see the application software. The system software provides the core functionality of the computer system. However, different users need the computer system for the different purposes depending upon their requirement. Hence, a new category of the software is needed to cater to different requirements of the end users. and this specific software that works on the top of the system software is termed as application software. So application software is a computer software package that performs a specific function for the end users or for the other application. So it is capable of dealing with the user input and helps the user to complete the task. It is also called the end user programs or only an app for the mobile phones. It resides above the system software. This application software is programmed for simple as well as the complex tasks. It either be installed or accessed online. It can be a single program or a group of small programs that refer to as a application suite. So you can see there are so many examples. So some examples of application softwares are word processing software, spreadsheet softwares, presentation graphics, CAD that is computer aided designing, or CAM that is computer aided manufacturing, sending emails, etc. So these all are the examples of application software. Now we'll see the types of application software. Application softwares are broadly classified into three types. That is, number one is general purpose, number two is special purpose application software, and number three is customized software. General purpose application software are developed for generic applications to cater the bigger audience. In general, it is also called general purpose software. General purpose application software is a software used to perform a broad variety of the tasks and is useful to nearly all computers users, such as word processing, graphics, editing, and spreadsheet application. General purpose applications are sometimes bundled together in a package called suite. An application suite, an office suite, for example, includes the application an office worker is likely to use, like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, etc. A graphic suite provides the application for creating and editing different types of graphics and animation. Examples, you can see the DTP software that contains the Photoshop, PageMaker, and CorelDRAW. So let's see some examples of the general purpose software. Some common examples are the Microsoft suite of the products like MS Office, including Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, etc. Then internet browsers like Firefox, Safari, Chrome, etc. Similarly, mobile pieces of the software such as Pandora for the music appreciation, Skype for the real-time online communication, and Slack for the team collaboration, etc. Let's see the special purpose application software. Special purpose application softwares are developed by the programmers to perform only the specific task. There are some specific software like payroll system. This set of programs is used by many organizations to manage the payroll system of their enterprise. Payroll means creating a salary slip of the employees, that is maintaining the attendance of the employees, maintaining the employee details, their leaves details, and their advances, and at the end of the month, payroll system is used to create a pay slip of all the employees. Now similarly, school inventory control. Different companies are providing the school management softwares which facilitates like student registration and admission, library management, managing hostels, etc. Similarly, there is a specific purpose application for the hospitals, that is a hospital management system. Railway uses their own software for the reservation booking. So these all are the special purpose softwares that are designed for the specific organization. Now the next we will see the customized software. Customized software is a software especially created for the users or a group of users within an organization. It is also known as bespoke software or tailor-made software. Unlike other software, which is developed for the mass market and fits a general need, customized software is designed for a specific preference and requirement within an organization. It is being designed and developed by the software developers according to the requirement of the users or the client. Some examples of the customized softwares are content management systems like CMS, customer relationship management CRM, that is used in the banking sectors, then business purpose automation system, then automated invoicing, company facing web portals, then e-commerce software solutions, then bug tracking softwares. So these all are the examples of customized softwares, and they are designed by the software developers as per the need of the users. So now we have covered all the different types of system software as well as the application software. Moving to the next, now we will see the proprietary or the free or open source software. Have you heard about the proprietary or a free or open source software? If you heard, what is the major differences, or what is this proprietary or a free software or open source software? Now we will see about all these three. Let's see the free and open source software. Developers of some software allows the public to freely use their software along with source code with an aim to improve the further with each other's help. Such software is known as the free and open source software, that is, in short we can say FOSS, free and open source software. For example, Linux, Python, LibreOffice, then OpenOffice, Mozilla Firefox, these all are the example of free and open source software. Now there is a free software, not a open source, only free software. What is free software? The software that are freely available for use, but source code may not be available. Such software is called the free software or freeware. These are called freeware. And example of the freewares are like Skype, Adobe Reader, etc. Now the third is the proprietary software. What is proprietary software? When a software to be used has to be purchased from the vendor who has the copyright of that software, then it is called a proprietary software. Like Windows have to be purchased from the Microsoft, so we need a license while installing the Windows operating system. So this is a proprietary software. Similarly, Microsoft Office needs a key, that is a license while installing it, and without the license we cannot install or we cannot use that software. So Microsoft Office is also a proprietary software. Similarly, Tally, that is one of the famous software for the accounting purpose, that is also a proprietary software. Quickkill and Antivirus, that is also a proprietary software. We need a license to install and use it, etc. Now we have gotten some idea about what is proprietary software, free software, freeware and open source software. Now let's see the major difference between open source and proprietary software. So with this table we can see what is the difference between the proprietary and open source software. So before that, let's take some examples. So open source softwares are like Linux, Ubuntu. Ubuntu is a version of the Linux only. So Linux, Ubuntu, OpenOffice.org, Writer, then GIMP. These are the example of open source software. Then proprietary software include the Windows, all the versions of the Windows, like Windows Vista, Windows 7, Windows XP, Windows 10, etc. Similarly, Microsoft Office 2007, 2010, 2016, all the versions of the Microsoft Office. Similarly, Adobe Photoshop, CS3, CS5, all the versions. So what is the major difference? So first is, when we purchase the open source software, it is purchased with its source code. But in case of the proprietary software, is purchased without its source code. In open source, user can get open software for free of charge. In case of the proprietary software, the user must pay to get the proprietary software. In case of open software, user has the right or user can modify the software. Proprietary software cannot be modified by the users. Users can install open source software freely into any computer. But in case of proprietary software, user must have a license from the vendor before installed into computer. In case of open source software, no one is responsible to the software. It is free for all. In case of proprietary software, we get full support from the vendor if anything happened to the software. So these are the major differences between proprietary and open source softwares. So now you have got an idea. So these all are the things in this session. One more session will be there for this chapter. So in that session we will see the next portion. So till now, if you have any doubt, please write in a comment. Till now, whatever we have learned, please make a note and revise. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.